This is the first ever low profile Hall effect keyboard. I'm sure many of you heard of this brand called NuPhy. They're pretty well known for their low profile boards, and I'm sure many of you also do know that Hall effect is basically the future of gaming, or present. You get the idea. Now, NuPhy basically combined these two things, low profile, which they're really good at creating, and Hall effect, which is really popular, to create the first ever low profile Hall effect gaming keyboard. So let me introduce to you the NuPhy Air60HE. To begin with our unboxing, it is very standard. We have our cable, keycap and switch puller, and some extra keycaps. And of course, we have our Air60HE. So 60% layout, low profile, double shot PVT keycaps, and the low profile Gateron magnetic jade switches. These switches are kind of like the star of this whole show, which I'll talk more about it later on. We have an aluminum top frame which features an integrated plate, PC bottom housing, silicone case dampener, PCB foam, plate foam, and our PCB with south-facing RGB. Now, what's so special about this keyboard? Technically, it's just a low profile and it has Hall effect, right? But in terms of technicality and how NuPhy created this, I don't think it was an easy thing to do. You see, low profile keyboards already use low profile switches that have a lower travel compared to normal switches, which means that typically on low profile keyboards, no one would think of implementing HE onto a low profile keyboard because the travel is already low. And not only that, there is also no such thing as a low profile magnetic switch, which means that NuPhy had to create their very own switch and had to be the very first one to create a low profile Hall effect switch. And the next thing I believe would be challenging is the PCB. Since the PCB has to incorporate a sensor and magnet, they have to make sure there's enough physical space for it to operate accurately, which basically increases the height of the keyboard. So what we have here today, this low profile Hall effect keyboard, is the first of its kind. It has all the basic features we know: custom actuation point, rapid trigger, hyper tap, and dynamic keystroke. So all those features about Hall effect keyboards that we really like, alongside 8000 Hz of polling rate, they did it. Now, of course, I had to test it out on some games, and honestly, it's been hella fun. I don't have any fancy machines to test exact latency and everything. Based on my experience gaming on this low profile Hall effect keyboard, it gets the job done. And honestly, not just done, it does it like perfectly. I've always been into CS, and Hall effect doesn't make you a global elite or 20k elo on Premiere, but every so often your gaming skills and the keyboard features, like, they just harmonize, they just come together, and all of a sudden you're a god for like a few seconds. You will understand why HE keyboards are on top. Now, I have tried a bunch of Hall effect keyboards. I've tried the Wu-Ting, I've tried the Mate 68, I've tried the Bridge 75HE, but this keyboard feels different in a good way. The switches. The Gateron magnetic jades are one of the most popular HE switches out there, and NuPhy managed to create the low profile magnetic jade switches in collaboration with Gateron. The switches don't feel like Hall effect, which is a good thing, trust me. HE switches tend to feel a little empty. If you are using a Wu-Ting, I'm sure you will understand when you're using the leaker switch. It feels empty and the sound isn't exactly really nice. But something about this switch, this low profile magnetic jade switches, I don't know why, maybe it's because it's low profile, or maybe because it's the magnetic jade switches, but they feel exactly like normal switches. There is resistance. They just feel 10 times better than the leaker switches. Which also brings me to sound. I'm pretty sure none of you would have been able to guess that this was a HE keyboard if I just showed you the typing test by itself. HE keyboards tend to have this really distinct sound profile, which I don't really know how to describe. But this keyboard doesn't sound that way, and it sounds a lot better. And on top of that, the looks of this keyboard, you can see how lightweight it is, right? Like, it's so lightweight, it looks so good in like the normal keycaps. Not a huge fan of the transparent keycaps. And it just has that NuPhy aesthetic to it, which I kind of like. To finish off this review, a big part of HE keyboards is the software to customize everything. And I have to hand it to them, and they are nearly on par with Wu-Ting's software. It's a clean UI with a very straightforward and direct approach to it. And finally, the price. It's $120 fully assembled, or if you're upgrading to the Pro switches, it's $140. To me, that's a very good price point. HE keyboards tend to be in the range of $150 to $300. Like, if you're getting a Bridge 75HE, you're looking at $150 to $180 before shipping. If you're looking for Wu-Ting, it's gonna be $200 to $300. Unless you got the Mate 68, it would have been $100. At this price point for $120, and I do understand that low profile and HE together is a very niche keyboard, but I do know that whenever I post a low profile keyboard, I do see some comments asking about will there be a HE keyboard coming out soon. And here it is. If you're interested, do check this out. You do not want to miss this one. But aside from that, thank you so much to NuPhy for sending this keyboard over. Let me know your thoughts on low profile Hall effect gaming keyboards. We might be seeing more of them because NuPhy has created the first ever one. Let me know your comments down below. Like this video if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you enjoyed my content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.